So what's the topic?
Topic basically, well, sort of more of a question. As someone who just wants to get into sort of agile QA testing, especially for me, what is my sort of focal starting point? What's the best starting point for someone like myself?
I guess it depends where you currently work. So for me, I actually got testing through the job I was in a while back. So I was very lucky to have a natural progression. They were introducing a new system into the company. I got asked to help test it because I had the sort of knowledge within business knowledge. So I was very lucky I got into testing through that. Is there a kind of a way that, do you have a testing team currently?
Yes, we do. My sort of role at the moment is like sort of first level sort of client support. So we have our own website at the moment for business travel. So if the client has an issue with making an online reservation, again, error message, they're not sure about navigation, that would be my first port of call.
So you already have the knowledge of how the system works and how to kind of navigate and get around the system really easily.
But for me, I want to progress to that next level, to more how things work behind the scenes. So if I got an error message, I don't know what it is, I can't replicate it, or I don't know what it is, and I've got them to escalate it to our second level. But then if they can't figure out, I've got to go to the third level.
Do you have access to that level? Can you go and talk to the people who do that?
It gets more sent off as a ticket.
Oh right, okay.
So it's like an incident ID.
Perhaps it's worth if you get some time, even if it's just at lunchtime or something, where you're talking to a manager and saying, can I go and talk to a person that this ticket lands with?
I would say, sorry to interrupt you, pretty much next time you have something that you kind of, I wouldn't say maybe excited about, but you get an issue that you're reporting that you're really intrigued as to what the outcome of that will be, how they're going to resolve it. It's maybe ask if you can actually go and speak to the person that's who's looking into the issue, maybe a chance of maybe shadowing them for like an afternoon or a day, if you can, and kind of get to know that team, should we say, and then see if they have any, if you could maybe do like a week, or we've done it where I work, where we have someone come in from another department and we got them into testing through that.
My sort of issue is, because I second in Manchester, my team's based in Liverpool.
Oh, right, okay. So
So
you're not the same
it's very
office?
difficult for me.
Yeah,
So I go to from every single week.
Yeah, it's probably a bit more difficult when you're not in the same office.
Yeah, because I've even applied for the job there, and even the head of that department, there's only a group of, who's now down to 5, who look after all the tickets on a global scale, not just within the UK. They're going to not get any more people on board, and he wants people based in Liverpool. So for me, the door's already been sort of slammed in my face. So.
I can relate to this a little bit. My approach was, we say, multi-sector, multi-job role, because where I worked in I started in a data service place. There, we did casework for child support agents. Pretty good stuff, unless you're someone trying to earn money, in which case it's quite an adventure. But we had like a quality process that we went through. So I knew that I wanted to get into testing, because for me, I actually wanted to get into the games industry, and I had a degree that's relevant to it. So I thought, well, I'm going to go in by the testing route. So quality was the first thing. So I absolutely cared about quality. You're doing the job you do, you obviously care about it. It sounds like you care about it more than your job allows you to.
Exactly,
So that's a pretty cool thing.
Then what I do want to progress, more what goes behind the scenes, what's the next level. But at the moment, it's because of the travel industry that I work in, it's just, and the next time someone comes in and they've forgotten their passport, that they're in a security question, I'm going to lose the plot.
Because you live in different areas, it's like you said, Liverpool and you're like Manchester. Is there any way you can have maybe conference calls with them, WebEx calls with them, they go through it on the screen with you, how to find it, do it that way as well?
Yeah, we do webinars, stuff like that, because it's such a small team who look after our company on a global scale. It's really
very hard to contain.
Exactly, plus it's like a matrix, I'm stuck to the phone. So if I'm trying to work out one thing, I get a call coming in, I've got to put that one side, focus on that, wait for them, and then I might have an email coming in that I'm still trying to absorb that.
Yeah, you firefighting all day.
Exactly, precisely.
Yeah, so it sounds to me then, not giving clear advice, do the time. But for me, I was in this scenario like that, where there was a constant turnover of the case where I orientated towards the job role, so I went towards doing the quality submissions. And then, as it was applying out for other jobs basically, as anything that was one step closer to testing, and luckily, the next step for me was video game testing, luckily through my degree. Past experience that I did, so I did stuff like beta test bases for popular video game releases and stuff like that, examples of bugs and things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Is after you become an expert, if you don't have any ability, in my opinion, it's a happy move. Sounds really disloyal at times, but it's your job, and really got to do it every day. So yeah, that's the way I would do it. Slowly creep towards it as best you can, and if you can't do it within the role that you're in now, then time to evaluate, isn't it?
So that's a question.
Basically, yeah.
Challenge I come across is when estimating for UAT users, and specifically UAT users that I've never used the system before. And it's kind of like my understanding across the board as well for UAT. Should UAT be conducted in a certain way, or is it inconsistent between kind of companies and specific to companies and how it's run? So, for example, you could have users who are subject matter experts in that particular software that's being developed, that's been engaged from the start in terms of gathering business requirements to write business scenarios for the vast majority of UAT users to execute, or you could just give it to them as per, and then they provide feedback. So I just want to get your thoughts around that, and specifically how do you estimate for, this is the challenge I'm facing at the moment where I currently work, is how do you estimate for users that have never used the system before and don't have anything to execute for? And it's like, the only way I've managed that is to add entry and exit criteria, but you can't say how much time,
Sorry, I was going to say, it sounds like you're blending two things almost. You're blending acceptance testing, it must do ABC, with exploratory testing, which is, it could do X, Y, Z. So I would probably, for start, whoever writes your acceptance criteria, probably ask you who does write your UAT.
Well, that's like a wider discussion as well. Who specifically is supposed to write that acceptance criteria? I mean, in terms of you've got to look at the objective of UAT as well. It's like, you could look and say, is it the objective of the UAT system to identify from users what's missed out in business requirements as opposed to trying to find defects, because that should be done in the functional testing phase and performance testing phase. So you've got to look at the objective of UAT as a whole and say, trying to find out critical requirements for the system that's been missed out from the start.
You're trying to identify missing criteria.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a good question to all of that. Who writes your acceptance criteria? Who actually has writes mine?
Because you could say it's like the business. You could say it's the business analyst that could write the acceptance criteria. But I've seen on the project that I'm on, and it's like they just want to get it across the board so that they hand it over to a BAU team.
It will really be. Sorry.
So you have a business analyst who writes off acceptance criteria, that's really signed off, then it's a sign process. Some companies do that, so you've got someone writing it, someone signing off, so the privilege, showing actual authority. Then it goes to someone else who usually is experienced, I would say.
Yeah, so it will really depend on your team setup or your business setup. I've seen it done in various different ways. So for me personally, we work in product teams, so we're very kind of sliced into what areas of the business that we look after. For us, we write our acceptance criteria, either myself as a tester will write it on my own, or usually with a BA, or generally do 3 amigos. Time permitted, we generally do 3 amigos. But I usually make sure I've got some stuff, some acceptance criteria written up front before we do that. But then there are other teams that will need the testers with like acceptance criteria. But equally, if it's something that the business is using, so I work on an app, so it's external clients that use it. But for our internal kind of back-end systems, they will generally ask, like, the subject matter, and they generally will kind of write the requirements along with the VA, but also get a QA involved as well.
So,
I think the issue with that though is that you get kind of a biased point of view where if the subject matter expert for a particular business area, so I'll give you a bit of context. So where I'm coming from, so I work for like an international law firm, and they have associates or lawyers. His software has been developed for associates or lawyers or whatever. And then, so from that perspective, that subject matter expert for the software that's being developed from that business area, so an associate from a business area is allocated to this. They will sit with the VA and write it to the book. I can see that just becoming very, just, you know what I mean, biased and not really,
so
not really going to find anything.
there's a couple of business.
You said it wrong.
Oh, she's got it. There's a couple of things there, and I've fallen for that one. So, just remind myself. I've known myself. Come on.
My question was just going to be, why aren't the people who are going to be running the user acceptance tests the ones who are estimating and writing the criteria?
So I would say that because they're not really they're not really used to writing. Well, most people I come across are not really used to writing, business cases or business scenarios, not in that line of work. So when you ask them to write business scenarios, they don't know the first thing what to do or where to start. The only thing that you could do is provide training for those people. But I mean, project managers are unlikely to give time allocated to training and getting training resources for that.
The subject matter expert, what you refer to, they're writing the acceptance criteria. We're on with the business analyst. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying in general, who's supposed to write, but you could have that.
Is anyone from outside who writes the acceptance criteria, maybe can get involved, maybe look over it, who uses it on a day-to-day basis, who can look at the acceptance criteria, because they're using a day-to-day basis, they're used to the system, how it works.
I suppose.
Fill in the gaps.
I suppose, yeah.
And then they could probably provide an estimate as well on how long it would take to test or how long that task would take.
Yeah, I suppose you could have that.
Because it's someone who uses it.
Because they could approve of the business scenarios to execute. I suppose that would work. But it's more about getting
also them involved in the scenarios what we write as well. So all these tests what we write, then to make it involved in the writing of them, so they don't miss anything.
The principle is like that filtering, if you like, going from your business requirements where someone's screaming and going, oh, you get to do X, Y, and Z. That needs to be filtered through the design so they can say, it can technically do this or this, and they'll order us in something that should be more technically malleable. If there is something explicit that the user needs to do, then that should be reflected in there. So it sounds like the business needs to filter it through someone. Call them whatever you want. Call them BA, OMG, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as it's filtered through someone a little more technical to write that. Even if it's a tester, it's a tester going, I need to do X, Y, Z. Because there's times when, even if you've got acceptance criteria that has been filtered through, you'll want to add something on yourself to say this has to work with automation. This has to work with some other service you've got. This has to work with something. So you can always add them yourself. But it sounds like the business needs to filter it through something first, and that's usually a business analyst.
Not even one person in these groups, like I touched on before, get people in the room, talk about it, question it, get it all defined. Maybe when you use definition of ready at work, so definition of ready is there's no gaps, well, try and eliminate gaps as much as possible, everyone understands it, knows what they're testing, and it's when some sort of sign off within the team. So they go, that's perfect, it's actually developed for the best.
you've got fundamental questions about your product by the time you get left, it's not going to, like, let's say, there might be simple questions, how's this going to work within some sort of scenario, what's the wider implication which you want to know as a tester or when you get to code. But if there are questions about what happens when this is not single use, what happens when this is single use, and they are not listed, that is still needs more time than it's not in here.
So that's why we use the definition of ready. It's not at that stage, it's just going on, it's not ready yet, so I think that's good.
I mean, it's just generally just like the usual practice or approach for UAT as well. It's more like most people I've talked to in the past, that I work with as well, that I've experienced, that are more experienced than me, they've said that, you know, UAT, they're, you know, up in the air sometimes, and when you ask someone to define it and make it consistent, I was just wondering if there is consistent, if there isn't.
The user generally, I from my experience, does not really know what they want to anything to do. It's a very broad and unimaginative thing usually. So that's why the VA should go and find that and corral it into something that is more solid, something you can work with.
Yeah.
And if you can't work with it, then it's you know, offload some blame in, it's a fault in their job, or it's something that they haven't considered.
So training issue.
Finally,
Yeah.
define the upfront before.
Yeah, I mean, if someone gives you a vague let's say, how useful is it? Yeah, someone could say, I want this solution, I want to do this, and you go, right, what do you want to do? I'll get into that. That's what, so you need to fill in the gaps that way. You need to do it step by step. In my opinion, I look at it step by step. What can happen to this step, and break it down that way. And then if you're missing any steps, actually ask the business owner to add it in, or whether there's any steps you have to edit. And then once you get to that.
Sorry, surely he should have found it. And I don't like to do that. It's my manager right there, so I don't like to do that, honestly.
But he knows.
Sometimes I have to push it to the business, because that's where I find the most difficult, actually, is pushing the right level of the business, rather than any difficulties with testers or PAs or PAs. And the rate log as well, if you're not getting the information. I ask for, if I think something's going to be ready by a certain date, how long will they be available on that date, you know, and how long do you think this will take them to test? Just put a bit of pressure on them to give you answers, and until you get those answers, it's on the rate log for me as a risk.
First question in testing, what am I testing? You don't know, you can't test it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So I try and push as much to the business as possible in terms of their information. I realise in some companies it's not that simple. Not easy. Business culture is different everywhere, to be fair.
Yeah, it's because you're obviously involved with phases. As a tester in the current place, you have to conduct and oversee the entirety of the UAT. You know, this could be large piece of work, and what stakeholders want is reports and progress from them. And it's like, how do you identify progress if you're giving it to them as like I've got a piece of work to just look at and just explore the best, but I suppose you need to use like scenarios to follow to manage that reporting or to report on something. They could also report on the amount of defects that are found, but I mean, you know, you also have to filter that as well to say how many users from one area are duplicating issues from another area. It's pretty difficult.
As a new tester in a new company or project, what's the first thing you do? What's your first go-to?
As a new tester?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you've just started a new company, new project, anything, what's the first thing you do?
Say hi to everyone.
Prison doors, you punch the biggest move today.
Yeah.
For me, you've said hello to everyone, how to play with the system and get some familiarity. Usually talk to the other testers if you've got the luxury of one on the team and see where they need fresh eyes. That's usually the way I do for the
What are you guys?
I'd say learn the product, learn who you're going to be working with as well. You never know who you're working with a big little assholes. I think you're right, get experience from the other guys, you know, pros and cons, pitfalls and whatever the opposite is. And I've been jumping into a project in the middle. I just might go through the regression test that they've got set up so far for that project, give you a good idea of the system, you know, because obviously you've got your regression at the end, you've got your regression as you're going along, or you know, anything you think you need, if you like. start piloting through that, saying what do you think is the most relevant regression text we have to what we're building as we're going along. What screens will we be building that we're familiar with when it comes to the new functionality. It's a good start.
Yeah, the one I found that's least difficult where I am currently is understand the customer as well. That's not always easy. I came from the games industry, and there, like everyone's a gamer. You'll understand it, right? Like you know what a customer's like because you play games. It's much easier. Whereas where I'm now, response stuff is all data analytics and everything. So the end user is not a completely clear thing because usually someone involved in marketing who wants to understand where the marketing spend is going and what's efficient about that. And I've never been in marketing, I don't understand those analytics, so suddenly now I have to understand everything about it, because how do you know what's good or bad unless you understand what the user's looking for? So that's a big one for me, is who uses this, and can I go talk to them and understand them? And
Establish your expectations of you, I suppose.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that? Like, look at books and stuff, I guess. What books come up? What's the biggest one that's happened recently? It's got a lot of pain. Should we go around the world?
For me, the way our team's structured, we have a quite specific stream setup, and we have an ongoing development of web API, and that's something I personally track. So yeah, if I went to a new company, I'd start looking at that. I've got to say, the degree to which I interrogate what we get back, you wouldn't normally see, I don't think. Probably from lots of companies for wanting to avoiding any blame culture. I love blame.
Yeah.
Nothing. I need to do that. But no, it's just to look at what's got through and where the gaps are. Because for us, there's a certain amount of legacy that's in our system. Possibly there are holes that have not been plugged for a while. So usually, if we're moving forward constantly, we don't want us to get left behind. Although they will, because there's a common influx of bugs. So we interrogate that. I personally interrogate that to make sure. So yeah, I can see that.
Well, we're sitting our own project team at the moment, so we've got different variations there, insurance, past visual, motion finance. We all have our own project team, so on squad, as you might know it. We used to sit on the same floor, but now we've actually separated. We're starting to separate. I've separated my right sit with my business pillar, who I do my testing for.
What do you define as a business pillar? Is that just a user?
The business pillar is basically the department where we're going to develop a test from. So I work for debt.
So the debt department. Five business pillars, like debt, insurance, your major products if you like.
Streams.
Yeah, the streams.
We've got, and then within that squad we've got various streams within that we call pillars, but area product if you like, debt, you know what I mean, and then insurance. So you might have car insurance, home insurance, that'd be a stream within that. Within that
insurance in general, then you've got different types of debt management.
So this is where it gets an interesting thing was we were announcing just before we started. You started to mention that poses some problems, if you like, or it can.
It can cause anything can cause implications. We just learn from it, build from it. For me, I've realised how good it is being over there. One, because people I need to talk with, certainly people I need to talk with within the business are there, they're right next to me now. The only concern for me is if we've got any areas where I'm unsure of, I need help with it. I usually go to the manager, ask questions, pose questions. He might give me suggestions, look at this area, or go and research this. Where it's not easy to get hold of him as he used to be sat there.
Right.
So maybe I have to book a meeting with him now where I used to didn't have to.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And also learning from our own testing. Again, there are testers on the floor. We're not going to be together. All of us, because Sonny might have tested some before, and I might say, go and have a word with Sonny. Or Sonny said, give me a call, or give me a shout. Where it just becomes an inconvenience now.
Yeah,
more than comfortable. Yes, but we're going down at the moment. And I think, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see no light when I first heard about it, but I started on my eyes, but a bit more used to it, and I can understand the reasons for it.
For me, there's not the solution, but Because we used to sit in IT, and it's nice to sit in the IT department when you're a tester, whereas being out in the business,
It's
you
more
know,
like quarantine zone, isn't it?
you feel less IT when you're out in the business. So, you know, maybe I'm sceptical at the idea, and I prefer it for business people to sit with me.
Yeah.
But because that's almost an impossibility, unfortunately, I'm sure everyone has the same issue. Forget sitting with you, even then getting a hold of them can be difficult. And the reality says that, you know, they've got a job to do that isn't IT, to be honest with you, the business members. So you've got to appreciate that, you've got to understand. Maybe it's better for us to move to them. It's easier for the company as a whole, it's better for the company as a whole rather than the other way around. But it depends on the company. It's one thing I would say, it's good to try it, to see if it does benefit you. If anyone doesn't do it and you think it could help, do it. And if it doesn't, 4 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, just say, you know, it's not working.
I can actually see it working for the squad I'm in now. I know Tom doesn't hear that one. But it is actually working because the people who are coming to us for a solution are 10 ahead and he's right behind me. And I can grab him. Where if he wasn't next to me where he used to be really hard to get hold of him. Didn't answer emails, didn't answer his phone. There's always a meeting now, I've got him. As he comes back, let's go, come over here, please.
I remember calling a guy, and I could see him in the other building at his desk. He was answering. We won't be able to do that anymore.
He does this one right now. Ignore. No, but because it improves communication between the team. And I think communication is one of the key things you need. I think communication is one of the key things that you do need to be a good team, build a solution for the business.
The dreaded C word, communication, always comes up.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't know how it's wrong, but communication for me in the squad of mine is really good. It always has been, it was in the last team where I just moved over from. Yeah, it's pretty good at communication. You get an honest answer, you get it really well. And you do have some problems maybe with offshore companies and stuff, and I'll get back this quick way, but we've learned from that. So instead of emails and stuff, we'll organise meetings, maybe phone calls straight away instead of waiting for them to reply to emails. So we've learned from all that online stuff. But for ourselves, it's really good.
By that is because we've started moving towards a microservice architecture, and each team is kind of focused in particular services. We've started to worry that our risk is moving a little bit because it doesn't ever go away, right? People think so. I don't know if everyone understands what microservice architecture is, right? So the idea is you've got this big, huge code base, and you're going to split it up into parts, and each bit should only do a single function and that kind of thing. People say, oh, that's easier now, it's easier code base to deal with, it's a simpler problem. The issue is the business logic, your business logic never goes away, it just spreads around everywhere. So in a way you've got a more complex problem, and potentially more risk, because the developer here working on the service could change something that breaks service over there, because the business logic is across the services, not just that service, right? So we were like, well, we see that as a big risk. Developers will probably be great at testing that service, because they're probably going to understand it quite well. But are they going to be testing this other service over here they're not responsible for? Probably not. They'll stub it, right? But they're not going to do the full end-to-end thing. Why should they? They shouldn't have to understand what we're doing. So we've started to look at how can we adapt to that risk. So we're basically experimenting with taking a step back from the teams a little bit and trying to work it as like a consultancy kind of thing. Going, okay, it's not like we're not going to be involved in dev teams. We are going to guide them on the testing and coach them on testing. And if need be, do testing if we need to, but really we'll try and get the developers to do some of that testing.
Is there any way you can help them with? Like say for example, writing this design rules down, giving them snaps from
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking of. We're thinking we'll focus on test design, right? And our skill set basically, which is kind of think of ideas rather than do testing. They are in an arguably better place to start writing code and automating some of the tests rather than automating. And then that lets us focus on other things like the risk of the architecture as a whole rather than this one service. Because each team in their sprints and things, we just go think about the service, everything we need to think of for this. And we kind of think we need to be bringing into our team the knowledge of the other services.
It's any way you can build, like, you could still build in my opinion, it could be a regression path on the back end.
Can I just call 5 minutes on this and then we'll start wrapping up?
Yeah. So you can do my plan, mate. Well, I don't know much experience with this, but this is the general idea I've got in my head. You can build automation regression packs from it, and every time there is a change, you can continuously run these regression packs. So as soon as you do deployment, kicks off that regression pack straight away. So if it doesn't work anywhere, it's going to come out with failures. So you know where to
part of your pipeline, whether it's part of your build pipeline or your commit pipeline with the devs, or part of your release pipeline, have them built in, and also looking at what kind of what level unit tests the devs like, maybe something that can kind of pre-put in your unit.
You've got to think deployment the test. You go right, there's deployment, like you got the test and the test itself.
It's defining what you want to cover within that.
Yeah, but the basic point was, should we as testers be focusing on just one service for each sprint, or could we be better spending our time basically?
I really should work, each test should work all together, get a defined end-to-end process, and build the end-to-end process in tests.
Are you starting like fresh? Is it completely new, or are you already picking up something that's already?
It's a legacy system that we're now, there's a big monolith and now splitting it apart.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so the issue before was...
You're literally stripping it apart and kind of sectioning almost.
Yeah. Which is why I found when we make each new service, it's great, that's easy, you can test that pretty reasonably thoroughly, quite well. And also the things that have been done so far are mainly consumers, not producers. So as soon as we start splitting the main thing that produces on this, that's where we can start breaking other services, because the producers are the ones that are going to have the impact.
That's the way I would do it. Just as soon as something's released, have this regression pack continuously runs. You can break it down with each service. So if you've got some sort of harness or something that they can use maybe.
Yeah.
And then call in that service, call from that service, each service itself. And then if you do it now anyway, it breaks it down. You set the test so you know exactly where the failures are going to be.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier for you, or the developer, to actually define what the problem is, fix that problem, and then again, when they deploy the fix, you test again. Does it work now?
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's right.
Yeah.
That's the
no,
right
I think that would cover the main problem, which is we don't actually have that. We don't have an end-to-end regression pattern automated. So that's one thing. But the aside to that though is, I think it's still at some point you want to do some exploratory or other things like performance and security, for example.
Well, the more tests you got in your automated testing, you still do exploratory testing, but if you get these tests and you run them constantly, the less you need to do exploratory testing because you know it works in the back end, so you can concentrate on high risk areas.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all.